It's interesting when you think about making money through investments, right? For a lot of people, faith really guides those financial choices.
Absolutely. And one area where that really comes into focus is investing in company stocks according to Sharia or Islamic law.
Exactly. And did you know that for centuries, this whole idea of investing in stocks was actually viewed with, well, quite a bit of suspicion in Islamic finance?
It was, yeah. Which makes the situation today quite remarkable, with millions participating globally while trying to follow Sharia principles.
It's a huge shift. So how do we get from that early skepticism to, a widely accepted framework?
It's a really fascinating evolution, actually. It's all about interpreting timeless religious texts, but in the context of financial systems that are constantly changing.
And that's what we're digging into today. We're diving deep into a specific document that really unpacks this whole transformation. It lays out the Sharia guidelines people use for trading company stocks, well, right now.
Yeah, and our mission here really is to pull out the key ideas from this source material. We want to look at the historical shifts, the reasoning behind the rules, and those practical standards that govern Sharia-compliant stock investing today.
So by the end of this deep dive, you should have a much clearer picture of the framework, what goes into deciding if a stock investment is considered okay or permissible.
Hopefully.
Yes. Okay, so let's start back then. If you go back before, say, the 1990s, buying shares in a modern company, it wasn't a simple yes for many Islamic finance scholars, was it? What were the main hangups?
Well, the source we're looking at highlights several key things that made them hesitant. They looked at the stock market and saw elements that seemed to clash with really core Sharia rules about financial deals.
Like what specifically?
Things like gambling, the Arabic term is makamara,
Yeah.
or excessive ambiguity, maybe uncertainty about what you're really getting into, that's gharar.
Okay, so if it felt too much like a game of chance, or if the details were fuzzy.
Precisely. And then there were concerns about usury or riba potentially creeping in. Plus, there's a fundamental principle in Islamic sales.
Huh.
You shouldn't sell something you don't actually possess right at that moment. That's Malisa Indak.
Selling what you don't own.
Right. And early stock trading, or at least the understanding of it, seemed to kind of bump up against these forbidden elements.
And wasn't the actual structure of the company itself also a sticking point? The whole limited liability thing?
Yes, that was another issue. You see, traditional Islamic partnerships often meant partners had unlimited liability. So this modern concept, al-Masuliyah al-Maduda, limited liability, where your risk is just capped at what you invested.
Yeah.
Well, that was a pretty new structure. It didn't have a direct equivalent in classical Islamic contract law. So it needed, careful scholarly assessment.